My family thought they were entitled to my grandfather's life's work. They found out the hard way why he chose me. Before my grandfather passed away, he left his entire inheritance to me, completely bypassing my father and the rest of the family. It wasn't a small sum either. It was a debt-free estate, a sprawling property in the valley, and a diversified portfolio that my grandfather, Pop, had spent 50 years building. Pop was a man of silence and observation. He saw how my father spent money like it was water, and he saw how my brother, Leo, treated everyone like a stepping stone. I was the one who spent my weekends mowing his lawn and listening to his stories about the Great Depression. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because he was the only person who actually saw me. When the lawyer read the will, the room turned into a vacuum. My father didn't even wait for the meeting to end. He stood up, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "We'll see how long that lasts." For the first few months, things were strangely quiet. My girlfriend of 3 years, Maya, was my rock during the funeral and the subsequent fallout. She was a kindergarten teacher, sweet, soft-spoken, and seemingly the only person who didn't want a piece of the pie. She moved into the estate with me, and we started talking about a future. But then the glitches started. Small things, at first. I'd find drawers in my home office slightly ajar. I'd notice my laptop was warm when I hadn't used it in hours. I'm a cautious person by nature, a habit I picked up from Pop. I didn't accuse Maya. I just installed a high-end hidden security system that looked like a standard smoke detector. One Tuesday, I told Maya I was heading out of town for a business seminar and wouldn't be back until Friday. I didn't go to a seminar. I checked into a motel 3 miles away and opened my laptop. Within 2 hours of me leaving, a car pulled into my driveway. It wasn't just any car. It was my brother Leo's silver sedan. I watched the screen, my heart hammering against my ribs. Maya didn't just let him in, she ran to him. They didn't go to the bedroom, they went straight to my office. I watched on a 4K feed as my girlfriend handed my brother a set of keys, the keys to the floor safe Pop had installed decades ago. "Did you get the code?" Leo asked. His voice was crystal clear through the mic. "He keeps it in a dummy book on the 3rd shelf, Maya said. Her voice wasn't sweet anymore. It was cold, professional, but we have to move fast. He's starting to get suspicious about the office being moved. Then came the kicker. My father walked in 10 minutes later. He didn't look angry. He looked like a CEO checking on a project. He sat in my chair and lit a cigar. "Once the transfer is initiated, we move the liquid assets to the offshore account," my father said. "Maya, you'll stay with him for another month. Make him feel like everything is fine." Then, we filed the paperwork claiming he was mentally unfit when he drafted the new will. "With the evidence of his erratic behavior you've been documenting, the court will revert the estate back to me." I sat in that motel room for 6 hours, watching them plan my life's destruction. They weren't just stealing money. They were planning to have me declared incompetent. Maya had been documenting fake instances of me losing my temper, drinking too much, and being unstable to build a case for the court. I didn't call the police, not yet. Pop always told me, if you're going to strike a snake, make sure you take the head and the tail at the same time. I spent the next 3 days working with a private investigator and a forensic accountant. We found out that my father was millions in debt to some very unfriendly people, and Leo's firm was a shell company used for money laundering. They didn't just want the inheritance. They needed it to stay out of prison. I returned home on Friday, acting perfectly normal. I kissed Maya. I told her I missed her. I even let her see me accidentally leave my office door unlocked. The following Sunday, I invited the whole family over for dinner. My father, Leo, and my mother all sat at the long oak table in Pop's dining room. Maya served the food, looking every bit the devoted partner. "I've made a decision," I said, standing up. The table went silent. My father leaned back, a smug grin creeping onto his face. He thought I was about to announce I was sharing the wealth. "I'm selling the estate," I said. My father's grin vanished. "You can't do that. It's a family legacy." "Actually, I already sold it," I replied, sliding a folder across the table, "to a development group. The closing happened an hour ago. And the liquid assets? They've been moved into a locked trust that none of you can touch for 50 years. Leo stood up, knocking his chair over. "You little snake. We had a deal." "What deal, Leo?" I asked calmly. "The one where you and Maya steal my safe codes? Or the one where Dad tries to have me committed?" I flipped my laptop around. It played the high-def video of them in my office from that Tuesday. The room went deathly quiet. My mother started to cry, but I didn't feel a thing. "The police are in the driveway," I said. I've handed over the recordings, the logs of Maya's fake documentation, and the evidence of Leo's shell companies. I'm sure the SEC will be very interested in that last part. Maya didn't scream. She just sat down and put her head in her hands. She knew she was done. My father tried to grab my arm, begging me to think about the family name. I just looked at him and said, "Pop knew exactly who you were. That's why he left it to me. He knew I was the only one who wouldn't let you destroy it." I walked out of that house and I didn't even look back when the siren started. Leo ended up taking a plea deal that involved naming my father in the laundering scheme. They lost their houses, their cars, and their reputations. Maya disappeared the moment she was released on bail, likely looking for a new mark in another state. I live in a quiet house by the ocean now. Sometimes I get letters from my mother, written on cheap stationery from the apartment she now shares with my father. She begs for just enough to get by. I don't answer. I just put the letters in the fireplace and watch them turn to ash. Pop worked 50 years for that money. I'm not going to let a single cent of it go to the people who tried to bury me.